There are some games out there that I would never expect a live-action movie to be based on, and one of them is definitely Monster Hunter. So when a movie was announced starring Milla Jovovich, I knew that I had to watch it. Yes, this is a movie based on Monster Hunter. You know, the game where people wield ridiculously oversized weapons and fly around with them like they're made of paper. They slaughter giant dinosaur-looking things. There's no fall damage in the game. Oh yeah, they also have pet cats that assist them in battle. In a video game, all of this stuff works. I've played most of the Monster Hunter games, and I think they're fun as hell. I love them. I don't think they're perfect. They're incredibly grindy, and they have a ton of downtime, where you're basically just chasing the monster around the map 80% of the time. But I think they're some of the most fun games you can play with your friends. I could easily see these games turn into an anime, but instead we got a movie directed by Paul W.S. Anderson. Yeah, the same guy who brought us all those amazing Resident Evil movies. And of course it stars Milla Jovovich, because who else would it star? For those that don't know, Milla Jovovich is Paul W.S. Anderson's wife. At this point, it feels like a kink that Paul W.S. Anderson has, putting his wife into all these like powerful video game roles. Like he loves to imagine his wife as this like badass video game protagonist. What's he gonna take over next? I'm surprised he didn't try to make a new Lara Croft. No, that wouldn't work because apparently they have to be made by Capcom. How about a Dino Crisis movie starring Milla Jovovich? Street Fighter starring Milla Jovovich. Dead Rising, starring Milla Jovovich. Beautiful Jovovich, starring Milla Jovovich. This movie also stars Ron Perlman, Tony Jaa, and T.I. T.I., the rapper? This is one of the only movies he's ever been in. Apparently his youngest son convinced him to hop on board because he's a fan of the video games. Very strange casting. Whatever, sure. The movie starts with epic music and a quote by Albert Einstein.
Oh my God, it's Albert Einstein, oh my God.
Because he was a smart guy. Then we're shown a hunter desert ship. We watch as it glides through the sand dunes. Already it comes across pretty silly, doesn't it? Although I have to admit this scene was pretty neat. When we get to see the characters on the ship, it's very reminiscent of some in-game moments. The characters are wearing clothing very similar to what you would see in the game, and they're being attacked by a black Diablos. And I didn't even need to look that up. You could say I'm a gamer. Tony Jaa's character is knocked off the ship, but oh goodness, he's still alive! We're then introduced to Milla Jovovich's character. She plays a ranger captain named Artemis. It's very clever because Artemis is the Greek goddess of the hunt, because that's what they do in Monster Hunter. They hunt monsters. A massive storm comes out of nowhere. It looks pretty dangerous. The storm, along with these strange stone markers, activates a sort of teleporter to a different dimension. Of course, this is the Monster Hunter dimension. You know how like middle school kids would be like, oh my God, if you gave me a gun and brought me back to the dinosaur age, I'd be able to kill all of them super easy. In a way, Paul W.S. Anderson made that movie. So now these rangers are in the Monster Hunter world. What are they gonna do? Eventually, they find the destroyed vehicles and bodies of a different team of rangers that went missing, called Bravo Team. They find no tracks or footprints leading to their position, and all the bodies are burnt. In the next scene, the rangers, Artemis and her team, seem to completely forget about the tragedy that they just witnessed, and they all start singing because, you know, it's a great day.
They give $100 and take back 99.
I know they're trying to lift each other's spirits and stuff. Camaraderie, if you will. Just kind of unrealistic, isn't it? They come across a set of giant ribs. They encounter Tony Jaa's character and instantly start firing on him.
Reno! Hostile, 12 o'clock, 300 meters!
They see one man and they're like, oh my God, kill him right now. Let's not try and ask him questions because what's happening to us is very strange. No, let's kill him right now. He doesn't even shoot at them first. They shoot at him immediately. A distance of 300 meters is called out. The Ranger Dash, played by Megan Good, fires her Beretta M9 pistol at Tony Jaa's character. The maximum effective range of the M9 is around 50 meters. A ranger would have never fired a sidearm at that distance. In this movie, Tony Jaa's character doesn't have a name. He's just the Hunter. That's what he's listed as on IMDb. And then the rangers are attacked by the Black Diablos. Obviously, they're outmatched. One soldier is repeatedly firing a belt-fed automatic weapon at it. While you see multiple muzzle flashes, the ammunition belt is stationary and not feeding through the weapon. And the weapon Artemis calls an RPG in this scene is actually a LAW.
Get the RPG!
It's It's so funny to me when movies like this decide to do no research at all, and they just want army people to do army stuff with weapons. Just fire the weapons, dude. It's cool. Action! Who cares about realism? Just shoot. Shoot the gun, dude. Some of the Rangers find their way into a cave. They're attacked by these giant spider monsters called Nursula. Artemis is stung and put to sleep. The other Rangers leave her behind and run off. The hunter fires explosive arrows at the Nursula, trying to assist the Rangers. Artemis wakes up in a spider sack and finds one of her friends dead in the same area. She's trapped in this giant Nursula nest. This part is pretty neat. I know most of it is just CGI, but it still looked pretty cool. It's easy to imagine how horrifying it would be in this situation. Somehow T.I. finds his way here. Hey, what's up, T.I.? Pretty convenient you're here so we can continue the scene and include your character. He tears his shirt off and finds CGI baby spider eggs bursting on his torso. Pretty disgusting. He's then killed by a Nursula. Artemis manages to crawl up a very convenient tunnel to the surface. Eventually, she comes across a ship graveyard. The hunter finds her and holds her at knife point. Why is he doing that though? He was trying to save them earlier, right? So why are you being so mean, dude? This is a very strange way to make friends. So they get into a little brawl. I gotta hand it to this movie. The fight scene here wasn't bad. That's kind of what Tony Jaa is known for. That's pretty much all he does. He's a very well-trained fighter in movies like this. So it was mostly just him that made this scene good, but still. The hunter captures Artemis and brings her to his little hideout. For the next 10 minutes of this movie, it's basically just these two acting like children. The hunter is treating Artemis like trash. She finds a way to escape, so she knocks out the hunter and ties him up. She's very thirsty. He notices this, so he kicks the water fountain over. She tries to damage his little wooden figures that he likes to get back at him. This entire part is so silly and petty. I'm assuming most mature adults would not act this way, especially if there are massive deadly monsters everywhere. You have to rely on each other to survive. Why the hell are they fighting? There are so many more substantial threats around them. It makes no sense they would fight each other. What's even funnier is that Artemis ends up saving his life immediately after all this. She then gives him what's left of her Hershey bar, and he loves it. When Artemis gives him this chocolate bar, she tells him how to say it.
Chocolate.
Chocolate.
Yeah, chocolate.
Chocolate. At least that's how Americans say it. So obviously he should try and repeat what she said, right?
Chocolate.
Instead, he says chocolate, despite not knowing that there's an O in the word. So that was weird. Also, despite them being in the middle of a desert, with Artemis rapidly being dehydrated, when she pulls out the chocolate bar, it's miraculously not melted at all, which makes no sense. The hunter gives Artemis some water. He then explains to Artemis that they need a Nursula's venom in order to take down the Diablos, so they can escape the area. And the black Diablos is circling around it, and they can't escape, so they have to kill it. I kind of like this part because it's kind of similar in the games. You hunt smaller monsters to get better gear so you can hunt bigger monsters. That's the basic game loop. They bait out a Nursula. The hunter jumps down and kills it in 2 swings. What kind of weapon does he have? It looks like a basic ass greatsword to me. If only this were game accurate. He should be smacking that thing for like 10 minutes before it goes down. After killing the Nursula, these two ready up to hunt the Diablos. The scene of them fighting it is pretty great. The hunter uses a sleep arrow on it. Artemis mounts it with her grapple gun, and they eventually take it down. The hunter is injured during the fight. Although there's a moment when the Diablos emerges from the desert pretty much directly under the hunter, but in the next shot, the Diablos is like 50 feet away from him. It doesn't make any sense. There's a really strange, intense techno song that plays during this movie. I don't think it fits the Monster Hunter vibe at all. Yeah, very strange music choice. The hunter and Artemis seem to understand each other far too well for two people that don't speak the same language. Like, they pretend not to understand each other, but it's not convincing at all. They come across an oasis. The friendly animals from the games called Apsaros are seen here. This next part is pretty great. The hunter uses a cooking station, like in the games, although I'm kind of disappointed that they didn't use the cooking music in this scene.
So tasty!
Because that could have been pretty funny. The hunter and Artemis are disturbed in the dead of night to the sound of a Rathalos, which is basically just Monster Hunter's version of a dragon. The Admiral, played by Ron Perlman, arrives out of nowhere, along with his hunter buddies. Artemis and the Admiral use fire on their weapons to ward off a stampede from hitting them. At least I think that's what they're doing. Watching them swing their weapons around at nothing was pretty goofy, to be honest. They're basically just dancing. When the stampede is gone, the Admiral knocks out Artemis, and he speaks English.
Thank you.
Don't thank me yet.
Cool. Artemis wakes up locked in a cage on the ship. She breaks out by smacking the lock with a bench. Pretty weak-ass lock, dude. So you know in the games how there's a Palico chef? The cats in the Monster Hunter world are called Palicos. And there's a chef Palico that makes the hunters food before they go out on their hunts. And that chef is in this movie. Artemis meets this cat chef, and it's hilarious. The CGI used to create this Palico could definitely be better, but it was still pretty funny, and I appreciate its inclusion. The Admiral and Artemis make amends very quickly. People in this universe are very rude to one another. They try to save them, then attack them. They work together, then knock each other out. Very barbaric. The Admiral doesn't even bother to ask her how she escaped the prison. They're just on good terms now. And he instantly asks her to help them with the Rathalos. She's like, sure, dude, no problem. I know you knocked me out earlier and put me in a cage, but I like you guys. We're chill. So they have to close this gateway thing at a tower. Apparently this thing is opening the gateway between their worlds. So they walk their asses all the way there, not winded in the slightest when they get there. Look at how far away they were. Artemis randomly comes to the conclusion that this tower must be creating the storm that surrounds it.
It's controlling the storm.
Sure. And the Admiral says that the lava below is powering the tower.
The lava powers the machinery within the tower.
How does he know this? He just does. So the Rathalos is flying around in this rainstorm, which is pretty hilarious. There's lightning everywhere. Two of Rathalos' weaknesses in the game are water and lightning. So it's pretty funny that they put it in a rainstorm. But in this movie, the Admiral tells Artemis that the Rathalos is only weak right before it breathes fire. The Admiral must be kind of new to this whole monster hunting thing because he's using a fire switch axe against the Rathalos. It kind of appears as though Artemis's dual blades are lightning infused. So ironically, the newest hunter in this group has the most effective weapon. There's a part when Artemis stabs the Rathalos in the mouth, but instead of, I don't know, biting her because she's right in front of you, the Rathalos decides to smack her away with its wings. She jumps off of a cliff to avoid its fire blast, effectively just committing suicide, I guess. Thank God she has the thickest plot armor in existence, because as she's falling, she's teleported back to her dimension. The tower's teleporter saved her as she fell. Really? The military is instantly there to greet her. Convenient. God, the plot contrivances are everywhere. She's carried away in a helicopter. The Rathalos teleports in directly in front of the helicopter and attacks it. The helicopter goes down. There's absolutely no way Artemis is still alive, right? Oh, she's fine? Wow, okay. She's not even slightly injured, is she? Nope. I'm sorry, but if people can take down these monsters with swords, then there's no way that military vehicles couldn't easily take it down with their firepower. These military aircrafts drill rounds into this thing's neck, but it seems unfazed for some reason. As expected, the Rathalos makes quick work of everything, and the plane lands near Artemis. It blows her backwards. Just watch this scene. She's still fine, right? She's still okay to fight? Makes sense. So she rushes the Rathalos with a big knife and cuts its wing. Oh geez, that hurt it. She cut its wing with a knife. A knife! She uses her wrist sling to shoot an explosive into its mouth as it readies itself to breathe flame. And it blows up from the inside. But oh my goodness, it's still alive! Thank God, Tony Jaa is here now, randomly. He saves her with some explosive arrows. This time, it's dead. The Admiral shows up. Okay, cool. Everyone's here now. What's up, guys? Another monster shows up, so they attack it together. This scene is super epic. They still have to shut down the Sky Tower. Their mission isn't over, but the movie is. Thank God. I don't know, this movie could have been worse. Honestly, I was expecting worse. But it also could have been a lot better. I would have liked it a lot more if they did away with the interdimensional traveling thing. I hated that. I kind of wish they did away with the military thing and instead focused entirely on bringing the Monster Hunter universe to life. Because it was honestly kind of cool seeing some of these iconic weapons from the game in a live action setting. I admit that focusing entirely on bringing the Monster Hunter world to life would probably cost a lot more, and it would be much more difficult to pull off, but I probably would have liked it more. Maybe not, who knows. Not long after this movie's release in China, the film was pulled from cinemas, and subsequently banned, because a joke in the film was deemed insulting. The joke goes as follows: what are my knees? What kind of knees are these? Chinese. I mean, it's not only insulting, it's just bad. This caused the film to be review bombed on several platforms, and it even received accusations of racism. Curiously, the game Monster Monster Hunter World received thousands of negative reviews as well within 48 hours, which were not aimed at the game itself, but on the film. I think that's kind of stupid. Like, what the hell? Constantine Film later apologized for that scene, which was removed from all subsequent versions. So yeah, that's my review of the movie Monster Hunter. Let me know what you thought of this movie in the comment section down below. Also, don't forget to check out alienclothing.com, my personal clothing brand. That's AYYLIEN clothing.com. We have a bunch of stuff over there that I think you'll love. Thank you so much to all my patrons that make videos like this possible. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!